What would you do if a friend became a monster? Do friendly ghosts just pass through our homes? And can evil fill the void left by a loved one? Today we test the believability of the contorted entity Hugo.
Welcome to Believing the Bizarre,
Where we dive into the unknown and the unusual.
You hit that verb, and we tell you whether or not we find it believable.
Yeah.
Listen, y'all may not know this unless you look at your phones, which I know you look at your phones. But if you're looking at your phones on your BTB podcast feed, we got interviews now.
Yeah.
We mentioned it on Believing the Bizarre. We might have mentioned it in the last episode. I don't remember. But the second Friday of every month, you can now expect an interview, and we were very honored and lucky to get the paranormal podcaster, EST 2005, Jim Harold.
It was incredible to meet him and have a great conversation.
You've been on his podcast.
I have been on the campfire.
I told my story on the campfire.
Did the first time, and then I went on my second time. I told my story about my ghost experience, which I have told on Patreon. And I also told another one recently. Pretty recently, a couple months ago.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. So the paranormal podcast, Jim Harold's Campfire, he's awesome. But you can expect that now, the second Friday of every month. We also have some exciting stuff on the fourth Friday of every month. It's going to be news segments, bizarre news, and some other fun games, producer Ben. Just kind of bonus episodes.
Yeah.
Because we love you all so much.
Stuff to get in there, Mix it up a little bit.
A little bit. But we're going to Georgia.
We're going to Georgia on this listener submission.
I took a flight from Savannah to Atlanta one time, and it was the silliest flight I've ever been on.
Was it like 20 minutes?
We didn't eat, there was no seatbelt off. I had to give them water. It was like you get up and then you come down.
So not only is this a listener encounter,
Ooh.
It is also a Sophia encounter.
Oh, anonymous.
That's okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Well, we already know where you live, Sophia.
Yeah, well, it's a big state.
Is it that big?
Georgia?
Georgia?
Yes, it's a pretty large state.
I got a ticket once. Not me. The guy I was riding with got a ticket in the backwoods of Georgia.
Yeah? It said, get out of here.
No, I think he actually got, and we didn't get a ticket. He got away with a warning.
Oh, that's nice. That's good.
But also, just a quick reminder, if you want your story told eventually on the podcast, go to believingthebizarre.com, go to listener submissions, and then submit your experience. Well, it's submit your experience. That's what you're looking for. Fill out the form, and this could be you one day.
That eventually is doing a lot of work.
What?
You said eventually.
Oh.
That little eventually is doing a lot of work.
I don't want to turn someone away because they don't know when it's going to be on the episode.
Yeah.
The podcast.
Just saying. There's two encounters that happened that she sent in. The first one takes place when she's about 12, 13. The second one takes place when she's about 23, 22.
Are there years attached, or we just know her ages?
We just know the ages.
Okay.
So, don't know. Sometime.
Maybe the 40s.
I think it's a little far. I think maybe early 2000s, mid 2000s for the first one. And then the later one's a little bit more recent.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure, though.
It doesn't matter.
I'm speculating at this point.
Profiling.
Yes. So she said, quote, "This is a disclaimer. I don't really know what you want to call this. I don't know if these occurrences are related to one another, and I don't know what's really going on my family's land. But here are my main encounters." So she sent us a couple encounters.
Okay.
She started by saying she said she's always been a little bit sensitive of others' feelings. She also said that she is very aware of how people are feeling and how empathic, yes. And she's able to see their emotions and energy.
Oh, okay. So that's more than just being an empath.
Yeah. She can also sense when spirits are around. She can sense that presence.
Imagine just halos around your head. Just a red fiery halo when you're pissed off, and it's that'd
be really trippy, but also kind of cool. Be like living in an anime.
Well, you would know walking into a room, I'm not going to mess with that guy today.
Yeah.
He probably needs a hug. This dude's chilling. That guy's high.
What color is high? Green?
Green.
Yeah. I know there are meanings attached to colors in aura reading. I don't know them.
No, but school subject colors.
Hey, I still feel like I was correct. So blue is English, red is math, yellow social studies, and science is, of course, green.
I'm with you on social studies and science.
It's interesting.
That's it.
Sophia fully believes in ghosts and the paranormal, but she has not really seen something like a shadow person in person, like full on. She's only ever felt their presence before, but she can see their strong feelings and has seen many glimpses in her peripheral vision. So like how the corners of her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And she even still sees those today. That's never changed.
Do we know where in Georgia this is?
No idea.
Okay, it's fine.
Not a clue.
Fake town.
Santa, Georgia.
Like your hat, your shirt. I mean.
Oh, yeah. Sophia is also a spiritual person. And in that spirituality, she has learned to treat everything and everyone with respect. She's also learned not to give back energy into experiences and move past them. Because if she puts out that energy, anything can connect to it and keep itself to her. It's a fear of hers, which is totally valid.
To something that she senses or just in general?
I think in
she
general,
just living life numb. Like, I don't want anyone to attach to any feelings.
I think, like, if she sees something,
she doesn't get scared or be curious.
She doesn't feed into it. Right?
Okay, but not just like the fear of putting anything out anywhere.
Right. No, I think it's not just like I'm numb to life.
Yeah, I won't be too high or too low. I'm just going to be right here.
My child was born. That's great.
Cool.
Super. I don't think it's that. So we've come to her first experience. This happens when she's like 12 or 13. Don't know when. But she described her house a little bit. Like you have to.
You got to.
She said her room was down a short hallway off of the living room, and the bathroom was right across from her room. So essentially all I need to know is that her room was across from the bathroom. She also described herself as being, quote, OCD. She liked to have a clean room, organized in a certain way, including her books and a certain Bath and Body Works lotion collection.
Did she say which one? No,
it was a collection.
I'm a Bath and Body Works aficionado.
She said it was not round, if that helps.
No, the soaps?
I guess. I don't know. I don't know.
Hand soaps?
Are you shocked that I don't know?
No. Let me tell you, when they have the hand soap sales, I buy like 10. I got underneath my downstairs bathroom, which I know you're not a fan of my downstairs bathroom.
No, it's small.
But underneath that sink, I have just a bag that I always keep full of like 8 hand soaps from Bath and Body Works. So at any
8?
times, yeah,
you're just always strapped with hand soap.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually very nice. It's very cleanly of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My son likes smelling the candles.
Hey, wait till Joey finds them.
He likes the candles.
So during the night, Sophia started to have these intense sensations of feeling that someone was watching her while she tried to sleep. It didn't feel sinister to her at the time. It was just like a presence in the room. And she'd have these feelings of being observed every time she was in the room alone. She lived in denial for a while, and she pretended that she didn't feel anything. Until eventually, she decided to accept it, and she called it a friend. She named it Hugo. So what do you think of Hugo so far?
That is that the penguin from the Pebble and the Penguin?
Oh my God, what a pull. I think you're right, yeah.
I don't know many other Hugos.
Whoa.
Is that giving it energy, though, accepting it as a friend?
I think it is.
She's breaking her own rules.
Well, she's 12 at this point. I don't think she's really developed those rules yet.
What else does she have to worry about?
This is like the prequel. This is like the Hobbit of her life.
Okay.
After several weeks of having Hugo being around, one day, Sophia came home from school. She popped into her room and sat some of her things down and ran across the hall to the bathroom. She was home alone at this time. No one was there because her bus beat everyone there. So she was the first one home. While Sophia was in the restroom, she heard a thud. But she forgot about it almost as quickly. But as soon as she entered her room, she remembered the thud. Because in the middle of the room sat a bottle of lotion from Bed Bath & Beyond. Now, this is noted because it was not shaped like a bottle that could just roll off the dresser. This bottle had been pressed against the wall, and it was not round. It was not near the edge of the shelf either, and yet it sat in the middle of the room. Trying to find any rationalization, she thought to herself, maybe me walking out of this bathroom made it fall. So to test the theory, she put the bottle in different spots on the shelf and walked in and out of the room to debunk it. But nothing worked. It stayed standing. Now, after this marked a change with Hugo. After Sophia began having dreams of seeing Hugo, he was always in the corner of her room, in the far left corner, next to the ceiling. He was always there. He clung onto the wall, backwards, with his hands and feet stuck to the wall, while the rest of his torso and head faced her direction. He had normal facial features, except for his eyes. His eyes were abnormally large. They were also completely round and black, or the absence of color. Sophia had this dream several times in a row, and after a few times of seeing this being, she started to feel fear, and she started to be scared when she was home alone. She got to the point where she couldn't even sleep in her room. She could just see him there in her mind while she was in her bed. She didn't actually see him while she was awake, but she could feel that same presence of being observed. She started sleeping in her sister's room just to avoid Hugo. Strangely enough, it didn't follow her out of the room. It stayed in Sophia's room. Eventually, she told her parents. And they weren't the typical horror movie parents. They actually listened. And they did all they could do in a religious family, and that was pray. But weirdly enough, after this, Hugo vanished. No rhyme or reason. The presence and the feeling of being watched were gone. And Sophia never felt Hugo again. Do you have thoughts?
It's weird that she had a solution and they did it, and then they went away and they're like, why did he go away? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying, I mean, it could be coincidental, but like if you're going to try something to fix it and then it gets fixed.
There's the answer?
Unless you weren't expecting it to actually work.
I don't think she was. That's the thing.
Well, but the problem, I guess, is that, I mean, I'm not a ghost expert. I just talk about it once a week. But you would think that maybe if praying had anything to do with it, that it would be more than just a ghost.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
Ghosts, like this has like Insidious meets Spider-Man vibes with like on the corner. Like it feels more than just a ghost.
Those eyes. I don't think this is just a ghost.
When you read this, when you became familiar with this story and you were profiling it.
Yeah.
Did any part of you think alien?
Alien?
Any part of you?
No.
I'm not saying I think it's an alien, but there's just like the being watched at night, observed, large eyes, irregular, like normal facial features, but just irregularities. Like, I don't know. I'm not, it rings more of a haunting than an alien experience.
Yeah.
But there's like a tinge of it, you know?
I guess I could see it just from the fact of like, you're right, being watched at night.
I mean, there's so many hallmarks of a haunting too. Like,
oh yeah,
she leaves the room and nothing happens. You know, I don't want people to walk away thinking that I thought this was an alien encounter. It's just there's tiny bits of it. You know, like if all it takes is a couple details swinging the other way, and she sees a light outside her window. You know,
but it's scary. Just what she described is frightening.
Mm-hmm.
What gets me is that she sat through it a couple nights in a row.
Yeah,
and then she was like, "All right." That's scary.
Why did she... You know why I think you're right and this happened in the 2000s? Is because the only reason she forgot that thud was because she was on her phone. Because if this was the 90s...
Yeah.
What did you do on the toilet before you had a phone? You picked up the soap.
And read the shampoo container.
Yeah, you read all the 50 different ingredients in the back that are washing your hands.
Wash and repeat.
I know. It's like...
How many times?
Before cell phones existed, you did not forget that you heard a thud in your room. Yeah. You got on Facebook and then Instagram and then Twitter and then you went back to Facebook and you repeated it and then you washed your hands with the Bath and Body Works soap.
I like that you tried to debunk it.
Debunk it?
Yeah, it didn't work.
Yeah, I think she knew it wasn't rational, but it's just kind of like, I have to do something to try and explain this. Like one of those in the moments, like,
yeah,
when you look back, it doesn't make sense, but, you know, you're just trying to do something to make sense of what's happening.
I think this is one of those moments where she decided not to feed into energy because I think that was absolutely feeding into this thing's energy.
She named the thing. Like, we're so far past.
Yeah. But that,
like
that's just one more step, you know.
I'm not going to feed you. I'm just going to name you. That's a tease.
At that point, you might as well take him home, give him a collar. Tyler, you know what's amazing?
What?
No matter how bad my day at work is, when I come home and I'm greeted by the wonderful scent of white blossom tea, it literally makes my day better.
Hey, a great fragrance can definitely do that. From our studio to our homes, we are huge supporters of our friends over at Scent.
We say studios and homes not only because, well, it's true, but Scent's Whisper Home and Pro Diffusers are built to perfectly scent a wide variety of spaces, no matter their size.
I do be hitting long distances. In fact, it can cover up to 1,000 square feet of pro quality fragrance.
It's super convenient to control too. We know you're already on your phone all day, so jumping onto Scent's app to control the schedule and intensity of your fragrance is super simple and convenient.
And hey, you might be thinking, I don't really need a full-on Whisper Home in my space. Well, you'd be wrong, but that's okay, because they have tons of other fragrance accessories too.
Accessories like room sprays, jar and tin candles, and auto fragrances. It made my car less stinky.
I know this was like 2 bullet points ago, but I really do want to hit home on the fact that the app is super simple and amazing, as it should be. Literally, I just walk in, and if it's not scheduled or turned on, it's just 2 clicks, and boom, I have a fresh scent in my entire home.
So listen up, guys. Scent is celebrating Memorial Day starting May 22nd through May 27th with 50% off site-wide, but Bizarros can take an extra 25% off their entire order with promo code BIZARRE.
Again, that's 25% off with promo code BIZARRE at scentair.com.
So, Sophia's next story, she goes into more detail about her family's home. This is actually her grandmother's house.
Is this the same house as the other story?
It's not, but it's right next door.
Oh, it's neighbors?
Mm-hmm. They live on like one big plot. They got a homestead.
Oh, so it's like one piece of land that has 2 houses on it?
I think a couple, from what I read.
Do they own all of it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Sophia said this about her family's home. Quote, "My entire family lives on the same spot of land in Georgia. Mom and dad, my sister and her husband, my grandmother, nanny, and my now late grandfather.
Family reunions are just going to the backyard.
Just having a big old picnic. My whole life, going to nanny's house was right next door." End quote. Now, she said even though this house was right next door to her house, her grandmother's home, she was always nervous there. She didn't like it, and she never liked to play inside there. She would rarely spend the night there. And when she did, she insisted that her nanny had to sleep in the same room.
Why would she sleep there? You could walk home.
I was thinking that, but also like
the feel of like a slumber party or
if
something.
your grandparents are like, oh, let me have the night, or like, let's have the
You
kid
guys-
for the night. Yeah, that's fine. Probably. Sophia would tell her grandparents that she would hear strange noises at night, but they would just say it's an old house. They were the horror movie parents.
Mm-hmm.
So the house's core was very old. The core of it was old. That means they added a lot of extensions to it, so it made the layout unusual. So she tried to describe it in a layout. She said, quote, "When you go through the front door, you step into the enclosed front porch. The room is large and made to feel like a den. And then you step into the foyer. The living room is off to the right, and there's a narrow hallway to the left. Down the hall, the first door on the left goes to the basement. The second door on the left goes to only the bathroom. And at the end of the hall, there is another door that leads straight into spare rooms. This door always stays shut due to the draft that comes from that area of the house. The bathroom was small, and the shower backed up against the same wall." End quote. So, all that to say, that door always stays shut. It opens up to the remainder of the spare rooms. And if you're in the shower, you can hear when someone's on the other side of the wall. That's the point of that, which doesn't often happen. So, fast forward to late teens, early 20s. She's like 19, 20. She's engaged to her husband. And during this period of time, they live in the mother-in-law suite about 20 feet away from her grandparents' house. So, it's like almost attached.
The on-the-site casita.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's exactly what it is. The only thing is it didn't have a shower. It's on like shower room, and they had a cook there too inside the main house.
Wait, what?
There wasn't like a shower in the mother-in-law suite
Okay.
or like a cooking area.
I thought you said they didn't have a cook.
No,
They have to cook for themselves?
Yeah, they did.
I would hate living somewhere that doesn't have a shower.
So you say I hate someone that doesn't have a cook.
No, a shower.
Yeah.
Because I would always feel like a burden every day. I'd get a Planet Fitness black card.
And go shower in the morning.
You don't need a black card to get it to shower, but
You don't?
I don't think so.
Oh, no, you don't. You're right. You can just go in there.
I would just have it to flex, but
Yeah.
in the mirror after I do that, just get swole.
Yeah.
I would hate that. Forget any ghost stories that may happen after this moment. Unless maybe they're getting a really good deal or they're just not paying at all.
I don't think they're paying, but so it's a great deal.
Yeah,
They're saving up. She said they're saving up to buy their house at this point. That's what they're doing. That's why they're living.
That's smart then. But just could you dorm? Like here's my shower caddy. I'm walking, or I guess you just leave it there.
Probably just left it there. So what they would do actually is they would go in the morning while their grandparents were sleeping because they didn't have to work. So they'd go in the morning and shower before they would wake up. So one of the first experiences in the home took place when she was alone. No one was there. Her grandfather was at the hospital at the time, and her grandmother was with him. Now, as Sophia was leaving the bathroom, she felt this strong unease surround her. And in seconds, it escalated to panic. Straight panic. She ran out of the house and into the mother-in-law suite, where her fiance calmed her down. She eventually did tell her nanny about this experience, and she said she never felt that before in the house, although she has had multiple encounters over the years, but she never felt that. So she felt the need to run out every time she was alone in the house, which she avoided as much as she could. That panicky feeling never stopped, but it was not as bad as the first time. And also, Sophia just wanted out at that point. Eventually, after speaking to her grandmother about it again, this feeling faded over time. And then it was eventually gone.
Oh, I wonder what her grandmother said. She's like, oh, sweetie, this house is haunted as fuck.
I think so.
Sweet British grandma.
Yeah. However, a few months later, while Sophia was in the shower again, she felt the unease creep back. She couldn't get rid of it. And then she heard something strange. She actually shut off the shower to listen a little bit closer. And from above her, she heard a scratching on the ceiling. Now, she rinsed off the soap as quickly as possible, and she ran out to tell her grandparents what she heard again. But she stopped because she knew what the answer was going to be.
What?
It's an old house. There's mice. It's just an old house.
They can't hear it. Come on.
Or they don't know what's going on.
they can't hear it.
So like little things like that were easy to ignore, but it kept happening for the next couple of months. So it was like, it's always on edge.
I guess as the grandparents, if you felt nothing in this house,
yeah,
and you just truly believed you never had an experience, you never felt uneasy, it was comforting, welcoming home to you, it would be easy to be dismissive. Not saying that it's right to be dismissive. I just think it's easier to lean into that and be like, I don't feel anything here, so it's probably you, not the house.
Mm-hmm. I think so. And Sophia would talk to her grandmother regularly about even just the little things, just to ease her mind. And they just said, it's an old house. It's okay. It's not a big deal. All seemed innocent enough until the last encounter, shortly before her and her fiance were due to move out in 2018.
Oh, we got a year.
I forgot about that. Sophia's grandfather was still alive at this point, but he was unwell. She said, quote, Papa had to have a hospital bed brought into the home, and he was put on bed rest. His little bed was in the living room, right next to the main entrance, and I had to be extra careful not to wake him up when I come in the morning. It was very common of him to greet me with a, good morning, sweetheart, while I try to tiptoe to the bathroom, end quote.
That's sad.
It's very sad. But the point is, he couldn't really move easily, and when he did, it was very slowly with a walker. And this was a typical day where Sophia said her nanny was asleep and her grandfather was awake in the bed. And the door at the end of the hall to the spare room was shut tight with a towel under it to keep the draft from coming in. While Sophia was showering, she heard a quiet knock. She assumed it was the old house and kept showering. But then the knocks turned into footsteps. Sophia thought it was probably just her nanny as she was finishing up in the bathroom. And then the unease started to come back again. As Sophia was trying to keep from freaking out, that's when the footsteps got louder and were coming from the living room. And then they came into a slow run. They ran down the hallway into the spare rooms, but the door she would have heard never opened. She said, quote, it was a loud, annoying door. I would have heard it. As she creeped out of the bathroom, she saw the door was still shut. Her grandmother was still in her bed, and her grandfather sat in his bed, watching the morning birds in the garden. Sophia asked him if he heard any of the racket, and he said, "No, what racket?" Sophia left the house quickly after that. Since then, Sophia had not experienced anything else. Her grandfather has passed since this, but her nanny still lives in the house, and she claims to still have encounters with friendly ghosts.
Sophia claims, not the grandmother.
No, that's what the grandmother says.
Oh, the grandmother.
Oh, yeah, she's open to the paranormal, but she doesn't think anything bad was happening.
Oh, but she thinks things were happening.
Oh, yeah.
So when they were talking, she was saying, yes, there's stuff here, but it's fine.
Yes, like she thinks that something's going on in the house, but she doesn't think what she was experiencing was paranormal.
There's ghosts here, but I don't think you're hearing ghosts. My ghosts are all really nice when I shower. They get my back.
Well, that just sounds crazy.
Sorry.
So she left us with a final quote. She said, quote, "Nanny and I both have experienced things that made us feel Papa was still there. A small presence like a pass-through, and I feel like it's him. And we'll chat about the goings-on and look back at the events, and I experience and wonder if it was real. It sure seemed real. The fear was real. It was all so real at the time, but now I just wonder what it was." End quote. And she said, "Thanks for making an awesome podcast." Yeah, but anyway, those are both her stories. The haunted houses.
In the same plot of land. It's the same soil.
Yes.
Same haunted ass soil.
What if it's the land? A lot of stuff happened in Georgia. Anyway, let's talk about more of these stories in the discussion. This is where I like to stop the episode and thank everyone who has joined our community on Patreon. And I just want to thank one person, Nikki G.
What's up, Nikki?
Appreciate you so much for coming in. What's one thing that Nikki can look forward to?
Well, it depends what tier Nikki's in. But
yes,
there's a lot of different things in all the different tiers. I've said it a million times. I'm going to say it again. And this one was kind of special because we all did it together. I'm a big fan of horror movies. And sometimes I felt like there's other more productive things I should have been doing than watching horror movies. But I love it so much. I'm like, well, then I'll just make it work. I'll make it work. And I'm not saying I'll make it work. I'm saying I will make it work. And so we added horror movie reviews, so I'm forced to watch a horror movie, whether it's new or not, or I've seen it before, I don't care. Normally it's Ben and I watching more recent, producer Ben that is, watching more recent horror movies.
Yeah.
I've been hinting at Paul.
Yeah.
Because you are a Nick Frost, Simon Pegg guru.
I love him.
Those are your dudes, and you've never seen Paul. What a star-studded cast.
Oh my God. Bill Hader.
2011, Bill Hader, Jason Bateman, Sigourney Weaver, Kristen Wiig. It's such a great movie, and you've never seen it
and Nick
until
Frost
now.
And Simon Pegg. Yeah, that was the first time I got to watch it.
Give a spoiler. You like it?
Oh my God, I loved it.
Yes,
I did like it a lot.
But normally we watch newer releases, like we watched Imaginary, we watched
Night
the
Swim,
new
right?
Scream. We did watch Night Swim, the new Scream, the new Evil Dead.
I wish we had that on camera. That was pretty special.
Yeah. What would you like to recommend from our Patreon, Charlie?
Oh, something I want to recommend is our social media response.
Yeah.
We put a question out every Monday. And if you're on Instagram or sometimes Facebook or Twitter, you can answer those questions, and we take those answers and we talk about them on Patreon.
Never on Twitter. Let me just be clear.
Yeah.
Only Instagram and barely Facebook.
But we talk about those interactions, those ideas on our Patreon and what we think about them as well.
It's fun because we get to know you guys through it. Like, there's the same usernames we hear over and over again. And it's just a laid back. We get to pretend to be one of those podcasts where you like sit on a couch and you have a mic and there's no notes and you're just, well, Ben has notes, but but you're just talking, and it's just fun to see what you guys think and just BS about weird, paranormal, bizarre stuff.
Yeah, it's always a good time. But anyway, that's the Patreon. Let's get back to the episode. So let's talk about these stories. The first story. We kind of touched on it already. I'm not convinced this was just a ghost.
You think it was alien?
No, I don't think it was alien. If anyone, you brought up alien.
Oh.
Do you think it could have been something darker?
Well, I mean, they're shadow figures, and it's so different than just seeing like a shoulder, seeing something in your peripheral, like a body, or hearing something.
Yeah.
Like the description of them on the wall, twisted, and eyes. and then they pray and it goes away.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It feels like there's not quite enough for it to be. That's another reason why I'm glad you brought up Alien. That's another reason why it doesn't feel quite demonic because there's no like. Are you getting any sense of like oppression here or anything like that? Like I know she's having nightmares.
I don't know if it got that far. I wonder if it was just getting into that.
Like where did it come from? Like they've lived there for so long. Like
that's the question.
I don't know. It seems like something was passing by. Maybe it was like an elemental. I know you're into that.
Maybe it was an elemental. I like that idea, but I don't think religion works on elementals like that. I don't think that's their bag. I do think maybe it was like there's different levels of demons. I wonder if this was like a lighter level of demon, where just something almost evil enough or malevolent enough to start causing harm.
She was of the age for poltergeist activity.
She was. Yeah, she was.
But she was also like the emotions weren't there because she was forcing him not to be there.
Yeah.
But I actually thought when you said the age and you said things were moving, I was like, oh, are we going poltergeist here?
That's an interesting theory. What
do you think?
I think demonic. I do. I know it's not like full on like a king of hell, but like,
well, she's seeing. It's the only time she actually saw it was in her dreams, though.
Yes.
So there could be
but also it starts by being a friend, right?
Yeah.
How's that? I mean, that's like,
at least it's not a child.
Well, yes, it's not. Thankfully.
All I'm saying is what she saw in her dreams could have been her mind coping with what she experienced.
What?
I'm saying what she saw in her dream might have been something she created. It might not be real.
Oh.
Like the experiences she had conscious could have then led her to have those nightmares.
Okay.
And it might not be real. Now she's sensitive and she's an empath and she, like she has feelings. So I'm not saying that what she saw wasn't Hugo, but who am I to say that she didn't have these creepy, legitimate experiences and then just some consecutive bad dreams?
I don't know if I buy that.
Really?
Yeah.
There's no chance that her brain made this thing up. You've had a bad dream. Well, you don't dream. I've had a bad dream.
Consecutively in a row?
Well, in the same night. Not often back to back to back. I'm not an empath, though. I don't know how her brain works. I'm not saying I believe this either. I'm just saying there's a chance that, like, there's very few times we're unreliable when we're awake. You're extra unreliable when you're sleeping.
Okay. That's a fair point. But also, how do you explain the energy shift?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, that's internal too. Everything in her is internal. The things that are external are the noises, the thuds, and things moving. Everything else is her internalizing.
That's awfully scientific of you.
No, it's not.
I think it
external versus internal.
I think it's very scientific.
That's not. I said nothing scientific at all.
Well,
it's more psychological. I think is what you mean, which is a soft science. It's a soft serve.
Yeah.
I'll give you that twist cone over here. And this is all just to be a devil's advocate here.
Yeah, it
feels like the demonic. It was just passing by, and it's like this is a lot of houses owned by I'm just gonna eeny meeny miny mo. It's like, all right, guess it's here, and I guess it's this room, and I guess it's this empath.
But yeah, that's my point. But I was gonna say, it did find the empath, who's a young girl, who maybe is an easy target.
There's a lot of different things here. I don't think we could actually say whether it's ghost, poltergeist, alien activity, demonic.
I don't think it's a ghost. I'm going to say that. I don't think it's a ghost.
You think it's more likely a ghost or an alien?
An alien.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
What about, and you don't think elemental?
I'm not sure.
What about she made it all f***ing up?
Whoa.
I'm just kidding, Sophia.
I don't think
I'm only messing with you because you're not giving us your real name, so I can choose you.
That's right.
No, like on our scale, believable, discerning exactly what it is, we're not qualified to.
It's fair. But here's my other idea I had.
Yeah.
What if this presence, this uneasy presence in her grandmother's house, what if that's
we're
Hugo?
not there yet. We're not there yet.
Okay.
We're not there yet.
All right.
Believable.
Yes. But what if that's Hugo coming back?
I mean, it doesn't have to travel that far.
No, but what if it's angry?
It didn't feel like, well,
it doesn't feel like the same thing.
But she has worse feelings there than she did with Hugo. right? Like when she describes the panic that she felt, she said it was more than she had ever felt.
Yes.
So what she felt in that house showering was worse than what she saw with Hugo. And if you're saying that's demonic, then you're saying what she felt in her grandparents' house is worse than demonic.
Well, yeah. What if it did feel this like fill this hole of like one of the questions at the beginning? Like, what if losing someone can fill with evil? Like, what if that's sensing that weakness in the house and taking advantage of it?
I don't know. Well, I mean, there's a lot, like when you're losing someone's passing, there are a lot of high, sad emotions.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what do you think about the grandmother here?
That's an interesting question. I think she is also empathic, like Sophia, but not as strong.
But what do you think her objective for downplaying everything is?
I think she wants. It's like you would do with your child. You know, like you don't want them to freak out. Everything's
I think
okay.
she doesn't want to lose her granddaughter.
Yeah,
I think she wants to keep her granddaughter coming over But like for the longest time, I wasn't sure if she actually was being honest and saying, I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah.
Or if she's holding back. And I still won't know. But I'm curious whether she was holding back. Like, I know things are pretty bad here, but I only got limited time with my granddaughter. She's eventually going to leave. Not the town, not the city, like our land.
Yeah.
You know? And I want to make the most of it. But I mean, you wouldn't put her in danger. Even if she knew it was not good, she probably didn't think it was dangerous.
Yeah, that's what I was
I don't think
say.
she thought it was dangerous.
Like maybe she did think there was a haunting, but I don't think.
Well, she thought there's a haunting.
Yeah,
it's just like to what degree? Because if someone kept coming to me and was like, "I'm terrified, I'm terrified, I'm terrified," eventually it's like,
yeah,
get your own damn shower. Then you know it's a tough situation to be in, and I would probably be reassuring as well. I mean, I'm reassuring now when there's noises, and I believe in this shit.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's why I think that she's coming from. I think she's just.
But I wonder what she thinks.
I don't know.
I wonder if she knows it's. I wonder if she ever had those oppressive feelings.
She's just seeing ghosts every night, just dancing in her bed.
Is that you, Papa? I don't. I just wonder if she feels the oppression or the elevated anxiety that Sophia felt, and she was downplaying it, or if she just truly was like, "Yeah, there's some stuff."
I think that's it. I don't think she feels it as strongly as Sophia does.
Well, her sensors are probably a little dimmed over time.
Well, yeah, probably. I
don't know. Lorraine Warren was, if she's not lying, she was pretty powerful at the end, based on our experience meeting her. But still, the same thing. It's like we're discussing the details and we're discussing nuances, but overall, it feels haunted.
Oh yeah.
So I go believable.
I go believable as well. Thank you for listening to this episode, The Contorted Entity, Hugo.
Yeah, he's just Spider-Man up in those walls.
It's such a scary image.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. When I read it, I was like, that's terrifying. That's out of a horror movie.
It's one of those, I mean, like, you'll forget everything about the episode. You'll forget the name of it, everything that happened, and you'll be like, remember that story where the person was in bed and they felt the hair on their knee? You know what I mean? Like, that's just one that sticks with me. It's like, I don't remember much else about that episode, but I know someone woke up and there was someone else's head, a ghost head with long hair, and it was touching their knee in their bed.
Yeah.
Bunk bed. But, you know, this was creepy. Also, just a quick shout out to Georgia for Nick Chubb. Thank you.
Is he from Georgia?
He went to school there.
Okay.
I don't know if he's from there.
That's great. That's great. His cousin plays for Miami.
Very cool.
Yeah. I just want to say, if you're enjoying these episodes and you would like to do something for us, that'd be super nice of you. If you could just go ahead and tell someone about this podcast today, like just in passing, like
a real person,
Maybe you're at work and you're on Teams with your friend. Tell your friend over Teams.
Perhaps you're in a Slack channel, and instead of individually DMing, you just go in the general or the random or the weekend news, and you just drop a link. You don't even have to say anything about it. Let them come to their own conclusions. Don't give them bias. Just drop a link.
No, but for real, word of mouth is one of the best things you could do for the podcast, and it would help us out immensely.
Oh, wait, imagine you just like go on Omegle and you just keep dropping. Can you do links in Omegle?
I think Omegle's dead.
If it's still around, just I don't know if you can do links in there, but just imagine you just drop links.
We should do that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, sure. I'm pretty sure it's dead.
If it's dead, if it's not dead, you and I should go on Omegle.
And just
no one will know us, but it'd be funny.
Yeah, sure. We'll do it.
Do you want to Put your clothes back on. Do you want to listen to our podcast?
They never put their clothes back on. Have you seen those clips of like people like on a Omegle and like playing guitar and stuff? Like,
No.
Okay, never mind.
Somebody put like a reoccurring clip one time where it was like a little Asian girl and she was just like staring, but then she like looked behind her and she turned and it was like a jump scare.
Oh,
so it's like a pre-recorded video. It's
I hate that.
But if you don't want to talk to anyone because you're shy, introvert,
Get that.
or if you don't have any friends, and that's okay. You can go on Apple and leave a 5-star review for the podcast in its entirety, or you can go to Spotify and you can comment on every single individual episode. Charlie, what comments did we receive on our previous episode about I'm just going to say the French alien encounters. There's a lot of names.
All those names are a little bit too long.
It's Madeline, Marius, and Maurice. I don't need to know their last names.
There you go. You got it. Was it Maurice?
It was Maurice, Marius, and Madeline.
Marius,
all these
right.
M's.
Yeah.
That's another through line. The 1 meter,
Yes.
the silver, the frozen, the M name.
Yes. So from Madeline, she said, I'm with Tyler on the scale. Quick question, though. Why can't it be fairies?
It's because that's Madeline.
Yeah.
I think that's her. I think this is her from... She's like, finally, I'm getting a little clout for this story.
Absolutely.
She's just searching her name every day, putting quotes around it to make sure it's,
She's like
aligned.
90 at this point?
Hey, she can
More
still...
than 90. Next one from Lacey. All of the illicit food references have me screaming. Black Market Berries. That sounds like a good band name.
Black Market Berries.
I don't think it's that tough. It's like Black Market Berries. And then the last one from Lilith Miller. It's so strange thinking about the black market in the 1940s just selling average food. Definitely makes you think. Which, I mean...
It's probably cheaper than it is now. Well, I know it was, but you know what I mean.
Yes. Yes and no. Yes and no.
It's cheaper then, but I just mean in relation to
Yeah.
inflation.
Can you imagine how scary that would be? You want to buy things off the black market right now anyway.
Dark web, not the black market.
It's the same thing.
Dark web, and I want you to. And I want to get shipped to your house, and then once you open it once and make sure there's nothing bad in it, then rebox it
Then
and then bring it here
That sounds so dangerous.
in a different box, please.
For me.
And I'll have a hazmat suit.
Yeah. But if you enjoyed that episode, thank you so much. There's a lot more content for you. If you've gone through all of it on our main feed, there's a lot going on Patreon. We mentioned it before, but there's much more than that.
We should have people send us boxes, like dark web boxes, but like y'all. So you're not going to kill us.
Please don't.
You can send us some weird stuff.
Please don't do that.
We'll videotape unboxings of things,
in masks and gloves.
Well, no, I'm hoping that the people listening, if you're 45 minutes in this episode, I'm hoping you're not trying to kill us.
Who knows? People have weird motives.
They've just been waiting. Like I've been waiting. They're like vampires out there. Like they invited me to kill them. I have it on video.
Yeah,
audio.
exactly.
They said it was okay. I actually didn't. I said it's not okay. But if you want to send us stuff, our address is out there somewhere.
It's true. It's out there.
We appreciate you guys listening. Again, if you want to submit your story, go to the believeinthebizarre.com. Submit your experience. Fill out the form in as much detail as possible.
Yeah, it's okay. You can write as much as you want, too.
As much as you want. It is preferred, actually. But thank you for listening to the podcast that proudly takes showers in our own houses.
It's true.
As always, I'm Tyler.
And I'm Charlie.
And catch us next week on Believing the Bizarre.
A podcast as bizarre as you are.